Starting. Go.
Attendance at Super Bowl 51, being held in Houston in February 2017, is expected to be in excess of 1 million people. Imagine, that is less than the current estimate that has been used to describe the stray animal population of Houston. That number is estimated to be closer to 1.2 million, but there is much controversy whether that is an accurate number. Could that number be significantly less? More like 400,000? Wait, 400,000? That is still a huge number. So which is it and why should we care? Common sense tells us that there is an enormous difference between 400,000 and 1.2 million, whether it be people, dollars, or animals. We need to know size and scope of a problem before we can find a long-term lasting solution. Getting a good handle on the actual numbers of homeless pets is a great first step to knowing what is currently working and what areas could use improvement. A homeless pet population count each year would no doubt provide an important piece to this number puzzle.
Virtually anyone living in Houston has heard a horror story or two about the homeless pet population. The mother and her pups dumped on the side of the road, or starving dogs fighting one another for food. For a long time, you know this problem never seems to go away. What do you know about the stray population outside of your neighborhood or what you see on TV? Probably you could extrapolate a number based on what you see. Really, what does that give you? According to a 2015 Houston Chronicle article by columnist Ken Huffman, the World Animal Awareness Society ran a test program in Detroit where the homeless dog population was estimated at 50,000. After completing a comprehensive survey by a legion of volunteers, the true number was estimated to be more like 3,000.
How is it that we have failed to keep track of the pet population for so long? Budgetary issues within city governments. With so many pressing issues such as crime and employment rates, the homeless pet population becomes a low priority, which in turn means groups wanting to help the pet population often rely strictly on private funding. For example, the Houston SPCA has been in business in Houston since 1924 and is solely funded by private donations. If you Google homeless pets in Houston, you will come up with hundreds of names of groups that are working on the problem. But the issue is all are competing for the same private fundings. And many groups will use the 1.2 million homeless pets to emphasize the extent of the problems, partly because it is human nature to pay attention to how bad things are in order to reach for their wallets. So why use a lower number when higher homeless rates earns more attention and more money? Yet other times, in a direct contradiction to not providing funding, government will throw money at the problem in hopes of making it better. In March 2015, Houston City Council approved a contract with Emancipet to provide a low-cost spay and neuter clinic along with wellness checks for pets. Yet this article states there are an estimated 800,000 to 1.2 million strays in the Houston area. And as much as we applaud efforts to help the pet population with spay and neuter, this article again points out no one really knows the full extent of the issue.
Of these issues and really notice a decline in the pet population. The current method of expanding spay and neuter programs is definitely a part of the long-term solution, and we applaud that. But we need to know the full scope of the situation, and that involves a comprehensive survey of how many truly stray pets are on the streets and how many free-roaming pets are on the streets. An annual survey would provide the necessary input to know if programs are working and what programs are not working. The grassroots efforts by the World Animal Awareness Society is providing support for these efforts, including Houston. This support will allow not only accurate population counts, but will allow for tailoring programs that will fit the pet population in Houston. For example, programs in Houston would address the climate in Houston, which allows for free roaming pets year-round, versus Detroit, where weather limits the free roaming pet population.
Just like someone once told us, You cannot write an introduction to speech first because you can't write what you haven't written. You have to know what your speech is about before you can introduce it. We need to know what the homeless pet population number is in order to assess which of the current efforts are working and what areas are deficient. This involves getting out in as many areas of Houston as possible and counting. Knowing what the two numbers are, which is 400,000 and 1.2 million, is a great starting point and an essential first step to understanding the extent of the issue. Interested in helping with counting the pet population? World Animal Awareness Society is recruiting volunteers in Houston to help with their population survey, and you can get involved by going to their website, www.wa2s.org/americanstrays.html.